And good evening, this is Bob W6CGX, and I'll be your net control operator for tonight's Papa Great Outdoor Net. This net meets every Sunday evening at 8 p.m. Pacific. This is a directed net, so please go through net control at all times, and your cooperation is always greatly appreciated. Stations with emergency or priority traffic can come into the net at any time with a double break, and net control will respond appropriately. The Papa system is an open membership supported system in the Southern California area with coverage from the Mexican border to Paso Robles and from the Channel Islands to Las Vegas, Nevada. If you're a visitor to the Papa system tonight, I invite you to go to papasys.com. That's PAPASYS.com and register as a guest. With your guest registration, you'll have 45 days of free access to the Papa system. At the end of your one-time 45-day guest access period, we'd love for you to become a subscribed member, continue to use the Papa system on a daily basis, and be part of the Papa system family. However, all amateurs are welcome to participate in the daily, weekly, and monthly Papa system nets regardless of their membership status. Again, this is the Papa system Great Outdoor Net. And indeed it is. Good evening. Happy Sunday. This is Bob W6CJX, and I'll be your net control operator tonight for the Papa System Great Outdoor Net. Well, we're cooling down. We're down to 80 degrees here in the shack, and it was 82 when I came out here at about 7:15. So I think all the fans are working. That's just a trigger thing that happens sometimes. All right. Hope everyone is surviving, and gosh, I don't know. I'm tired of complaining about it, so I won't complain anymore. I actually kind of enjoyed today. It actually felt kind of cool with those clouds, and felt like, we are in Hawaii. Hawaii. Okay, with that, let's stop for some announcements. We'll get started with that, and we'll be right back.
Here is the Papa System weekly calendar for the latest news and upcoming events. The Papa Valley Breakfast will be on Saturday, August 8th, at 7:30 a.m. at Lulu's Restaurant, 16900 Roscoe Boulevard, Van Nuys, California. Special presentation. Our featured speaker will be Amateur Radio Emergency Services, ARES, District Emergency Coordinator Ruzi Moabri, W1EH, speaking about ARES and emergency communications. The Papa Inland Empire Monthly Meeting. Join us at our new venue. Papa will also be meeting in person on Saturday, August 8th, 10 a.m. at the Redlands Municipal Airport Lobby, 1755 Sessoms Drive, Redlands, California. Everyone is welcome. Come on out and meet some of the people who you hear and enjoy talking to on the air. We will also be offering ham license testing at both events for technician, general and amateur extra class licenses. As always, the Papa Quick Start program runs in conjunction with all our test sessions and is a benefit for newly licensed technician class ham radio operators. Please see the Papa website for more information. Newly licensed operators are encouraged to check in on the Papa system, Wednesday night New Hams Net with Steve, KI6LOV, at 7 p.m. and let him know if you were part of the Quick Start program. On the same weekend, NI6IW special events station on the USS Midway will also be on the air Saturday, August 8. They will be commemorating Operation Paul Bunyan, 8/21/76. Please see the Papa website for operating times, modes, and frequencies. So please, come out and support your local Papa breakfast and luncheons. All this information and a whole lot more can be found on the Papa System emails and on the Papa website at papasys.com.
papasys.com. That's it. That's all you need to know. It takes you to everything Papa. Okay, thanks for those announcements. And I guess I have another little bit of announcement. You might have heard that X Reflector 12 Alpha and also the DMR bridge 31078. I don't know. Forgive me if it's wrong. Is no longer, not being in use, not being able to be used or utilized at this time. So if you're trying to use the bridge to get over to analog from those two digital modes, stop, because it's not going to work. But they might be working on getting it working for the future. We'll have a little shorter all mode net, I think. It might be kind of fun, actually. We'll have to throw something else in there. All right, before we get any further down the road, let's say hello, or I should say trail. I gotta change road to trail. Okay, note to self. Before we get further down the trail, let's see if there's any other announcements. Stand by. That sounds like it's quiet to me. Okay, there we go. Let's see, what do we got first? We did the announcements, and now we've got Steve. We're gonna do a little something different tonight. I think Steve's gonna maybe give us a latest update on Jackie and how she's doing. I kind of been keeping track with it because we are local to Ojai, and our morning news, KVTA, give them a sweet plug, has a great they story each morning on her progress. So Steve, KI6LOV, if you're out there and would like to take over for your trail report, and we'll make it a Jackie report tonight, a bird report, whatever you'd like to call it. So KI6LOV, welcome.
This is Steve, KI6LOV. Pleasure to be here on the Great Outdoor Net as always. And no, I wasn't at the cabin this weekend. I plan to go up this coming weekend for another day hike. That's a story for another time. As Bob mentioned, and now Bob just told me he gets daily updates from his local TV as far as Jackie and her stay at the Ojai Raptor Center. So he may even have something newer than I do. But basically, the good news about Jackie is that not only did the X-rays and CT scan come back with no broken bones, no damage like that at all, and no metal found within her body, no fish hooks, no fishing sinkers, anything like that. So that's really good news. And then the toxicology reports came back from her blood work saying that she did not have any lead poisoning, which is a real problem for eagles because of fish being their primary diet. The thing about it is there will be a big update tomorrow. At least I've been told by the Ojai Raptor Center and the Friends of Big Bear Valley be putting out another update on YouTube. And we'll see how her progress is. And I'm hoping for a timeline to get her back out in the wild. A couple things about Jackie and Shadow. Now, people have been concerned that perhaps Shadow will get antsy and leave and not be around when Jackie returns. I believe that is not the case at all. The Big Bear nest is Shadow's nest as much as it is Jackie's, and they've been around for just about 9 years together. And it's too bad there's no way to let him know what's happening and that she'll be okay. Now, she's like right in the middle of her lifespan. She's a little older than Shadow, but she still has a lot of good years, and I believe that she will be released and back into her territory, of course, and then everything will get back on track. But I'll tell you, with Shadow entertaining, apparently a young eagle there, we'll see what Jackie has to say about that when she comes back. But I'm waiting for tomorrow's update, and that's really all I have. I think that once she comes back, things are going to get back on track because this is basically the end of their nesting season anyway, and they could ramp up and do another season for the 2026/27 season. But that, if I say any more, I'd just be speculating, but I am positive that they will get it back together, and don't abandon the webcam. There's still some good stuff there. As a matter of fact, I have cam number 2 on right now, and what they do there is they zoom in and out, and they move the camera around. I'm looking at either Luna or Sandy up in a tree, and they're going to be around for another few weeks at least. So I know I rambled a little bit on this one, Bob, but it couldn't be helped. So I'll give it back to you, and you enjoy the rest of the net. And to everyone out there, we'll see you on Wednesday night. KI6LOV.
All right, Steve, that's great. I know I've been watching the cam in the morning, or we have been. It's kind of our coffee morning ritual. Turn on the Big Bear cam, and it's been kind of dead. But this morning there was a little. I got to say it was a chipmunk because that's the only thing. It had stripes from head to toe or to tail. Looked just like a little, but really small, and it was cruising all over the nest. It was going in between all the sticks, and it probably got some pieces of old fish that got it dropped through into the bottom where the birds couldn't get to it anymore. But he was having a good old time, just running all around the nest, and they kind of did zoom in on him or her or at one point in time. But my hat's off to the technicians and all the people, the doctors, the veterinarians at this Ojai Raptor Center, because can you imagine now picture this, how can you imagine giving a CAT scan to a wild bald eagle? That has got to be an interesting, you think regular patients have a hard time taking those kind of tests, but wow. And then I think she also had a blood transfusion from a fellow Eagle somewhere out an Eagle Scout out in Bakersfield. W6CJX for the Papa System Great Outdoor Net. Thank you, Steve. It was great seeing you Saturday. We had a little field meeting, and that was quite wonderful. Had a great time. Okay, now we'll get to our subject for tonight, and we'll see what we got. So I thought I would forego a 101 tonight. I kind of had one halfway ready, but then I thought, I'd rather have the Jackie update and have a little more time with that, and not have to worry so much. But what I was going to do tonight, and since most of these are outdoors, and I know everyone's going, well, just because it's outdoors doesn't mean it should be on the outdoor net. But I wanted to do your favorite Southern California, or anywhere actually. It doesn't have to be Southern California theme parks. We've got some great ones, and there's great ones all across the United States and other countries also. So don't forget about those if you've ever been to one. But everyone's, they have the little top 10. It's like Disneyland Resort. Okay, got it. Universal Studios. Okay. Six Flags Magic Mountain. Not Spray Farms in fourth place. No, I can't have that. Legoland. We got SeaWorld in San Diego. And then, of course, there's a few other little ones. Pacific Park at Santa Monica. So if you've ever, as a kid, had some fun at one of the different theme parks and you really enjoyed yourself there, or it was a regular thing, or parents dropped you off at Disneyland when you were 14 for the first time and got to go by yourselves. So, something like that. Jog a few memories out there and let us know which theme park, either in Southern California or anywhere in the world, that you enjoy the most. So I wanted to take a few internet check-ins first. I have a few requests for that. I apologize in the past that, sometimes several people can't get in at all. And so let me just see. There's probably only a couple, I think, maybe. But let's take our internet friends, which I guess would be these days All-Star and Echolink. I don't think Echo. Yeah, I think that's all we have, really, is to be able to get into the system now from other sources. So internet people only at this time, please.
6 Hotel November Golf on All-Star.
Kilo Delta 6 Lima Bravo Logan on All-Star.
K6 COV Tom San Diego All-Star.
KC6 WTN Jeff All-Star.
KF4 PQH Ron All-Star.
Alpha Bravo 6 Mike Bravo All-Star.
Okay, let's take some analog check-ins.
November 6 Alpha Quebec Dale.
Kilo Juliet 6 Golf Echo Uniform Bob Papa 4 H Mobile.
November 6 Hotel Alpha Lima Papa 9.
3? You mean the internet all-stars are out? I feel like this is a baseball game. The all-stars are winning. Okay, well, let's go through our list. I mean, we got plenty of time. This is just the beginning of the net. And we'll go down a little memory lane on theme parks. Make something up. I don't care. We'll see. I kind of grew up at Knott's Berry Farm. So I'll elaborate on that maybe a little bit later. All right, let's go to the top and talk to Adrian, K6HNG. Welcome, and Oh, yeah. What about when you were growing up? We should just like say that. When you were growing up, what was your favorite theme park? Because I bet you had something over in Romania and around this area there. So go ahead, go ahead, Romania. Come in, Romania, please. Go ahead, Adrian.
Thank you, Bob. This is Adrian, KK6HNG. And yes, Bucharest had a nice theme park. It was called Children's Town. And of course, in winter, it has all the Christmas themes and whatnot. So it was okay, but no, you can't beat Disneyland. And I'm going to tell you another story. My father came in Los Angeles for his work in the 80s for like a few weeks. And for some reason, they took him to see Disneyland as well. Well, he was absolutely impressed. Needless to say, the first time when he came to visit me here in Los Angeles, he wanted to see that thing again, to go to the memory lane. And yeah, meanwhile, I've seen other parks in California, but if you put the price aside, probably the nicest, the more mechatronic, the more futuristic, the more whatever, it's still Disneyland. So definitely Disney had a vision. And another thing I want to say, okay, for people in Los Angeles area, KTLA 5, Los Angeles seems every morning to give some news about the bald eagles there. Actually, they even showed a few images in the medical care, whatever, and from the nest. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure there are others that will do too. But, yeah, pretty much what Steve said, it's in a nutshell what they were saying over the last few days. KK6HNG, back to net.
Well, I like the part where they said she's kind of getting kind of feisty with the technicians that are trying to do the testing and everything. So that's a good sign. I mean, she has some strength and she's able to, I don't know, like I said, my hat's off definitely to the vets, whatever, and the technicians that are taking care of her and all the birds. I know they brought the condors back to existence up there. That's what they're kind of famous for, is bringing the condors back to the wild. All right, thank you, Adrian, and hope we'll see you on the island. I guess we don't know yet, and I'll talk more about that maybe in another net as we get a little closer. Logan, I'm going to ask you to stand by for just a second because you're such a good standby. That worked out good. And I'm going to call for a mobile station, KJ6GEU. Bob, welcome.
Good morning, Bob and Annette. This is KJ6GEU, Bob. Currently on 4 hotel. I'm probably going to switch over to 1 mobile pretty soon. But yeah, totally whiffed out on this one. I haven't been to a theme park since my youngest child was 13. Disneyland was nice back then. I haven't been back since. I don't know. I guess since my kids are all moved out and all, it seems kind of silly to pay $50 to park and $200 a ticket to stand in line most of the day. So anyway, that's just my sarcastic take on it. So I'll let it go at that. Just got back from 9 days in Alaska. That was a lot of fun, despite the fact that it rained most of the time up there. Did some ocean fishing for 1 day, some river fishing for a couple of days. Mixed results. Went over to the west side of Cook Inlet on a float plane and got a whole bunch of pictures of bears in the wild over there. And also took a little expedition up Resurrection Bay, some of the little glacier fjords up there. Got some real good pictures, and the whale watching there was phenomenal. So anyway, I'll let it go at that. I did come back with a little bit of a cold, so I'm a little raspy. Thanks for having me on early, Bob, and 73 to everybody on the net. Catch you later, KJ6GEU, back to net control.
Well, I couldn't have set that up if I tried. I was hoping that you would give us a report. I didn't mention it, but I knew that you were back. I guess I figured you were back. And just being mobile sometimes, you have to start, playing musical repeaters while you're driving to just, it's okay if you're listening, but if you're waiting to check in, it makes it hard. So Yeah, welcome back. And that sounds just fantastic. I mean, rain or no rain, like somebody mentioned, oh, it was Darren last night. He said, I like to do a lot of my adventures, outdoor adventures in the rain. So, it is what it is sometimes. All right, Bob, take care. Thanks. And let's go to Logan. Thank you for waiting. KD6LLB, what was your favorite theme park as a kid or anytime and anywhere?
Good evening, Bob, and good evening, everyone out there. This is Logan, Kilo Delta 6, Lima Bravo on All-Star. And first, yeah, it's great to hear GEU. I can't think of an example. I've never heard anybody who went to Alaska and came back and said, "Hey, it was so-so." Yeah, I think I've heard a lot of people who were just stunned by visiting Alaska, and I would like to get up there. So as far as the Steve's report, I appreciate it. I'm pretty familiar with the Ojai Raptor Center. This kind of ties into theme parks and indirectly. But I have taken people to the Ojai Raptor Center, visitors from out of town and family and friends in the area. And I've also helped out sort of indirectly, but I've rescued some animals, and I've seen the operation. It's been a while, but the California Wildlife Center. There's also a pinniped place that rehabilitates pinnipeds down in San Pedro. And there are a lot of groups doing extraordinary work, and the Ojai Raptor Center is top notch. There's also a really good raptor rescue up in, I guess it's San Luis Obispo, somewhere in that area, and I think they just released the red tail. So, quick story about working with those on Catalina. If anybody's ever traveled over there, they have a place where they keep there are a few animals like a island fox, things that they can't release into the wild, and they had when I went there. I don't know, this was about 10 years ago, I would guess. They had a golden eagle and they had a bald eagle, and as we were walking around, we saw the golden eagle and we thought, wow, what an impressive bird. And then we came a little further along the area where we could walk and look, and we saw the bald eagle in comparison to the golden eagle, and oh man, the bald eagle is a serious bird. I don't know how, but they work with them. Okay, let me reset and answer the question. KD6LLB. My answer about theme parks is really simple. When I was a kid, I would go to the Dallas area. We had a lot of friends there, and we would go to Six Flags Over Texas, the original. I'm pretty sure it was the original since it was the only one at the time. And that was great. And the last time I went to a theme park and had fun was when I was 14 and I came out to Disneyland. Well, I came out to Southern California for an extended trip or visit, and had a lot of fun at Disneyland. But I also went to Skatopia and Marina Skate Park, and that was more fun and absolutely changed my priorities and my perspective. And I haven't willingly gone back to any kind of theme park since then. In fact, my deal with various family visits, I was responsible for getting up to San Luis Obispo or Catalina or Big Bear. And I hauled luggage and I drove and I did all that. And the deal was I would do everything like that as long as I didn't have to go to a theme park. So it's not my scene. I understand why people like them, but there are other things I'd like to do. But anyway, it's great to hear everybody. KD6LLB.
Thank you, Logan. I know you go up to Ojai quite a bit, probably as much as we do when we go camping there at Lake Casitas. It's still Ojai. A lot of times we go into town and get something fancy like a Starbucks or something like that. Just a little treat to get out there, away from camp and have some fun, or a pizza. You never know. That's glamping, right? Yeah, that's great that you did some work with them, and I can imagine it must be, like I said, it must be a real challenge for all birds. Of course, you got to be, careful. Anyway, I got to do theme parks at least once on the Outdoor Net. W6CJX for the Papa System Great Outdoor Net Theme Park Edition. Thank you, Logan. As always, Six Flags. I would have predicted that, maybe. Yeah, that's a good one. K6COZ, Tom, welcome, my friend. How's it going?
Thank you, Bob, for having me. I guess I'm going to keep it short. Marineland when I was a kid near St. Augustine, Florida, when I was living down there. SeaWorld in San Diego was great when they had Shamu before Peter took over. I heard the Jackie, I guess, was attacked by two young males and beat her down, and she was, exhausted, so that's why she was in the water. And Adrian, I'd love to see Vlad the Impaler's castle over there in Romania. That'd be a great theme park. Back to net control, K6COZ.
Well, thank you, Tom. Yeah, that's Marineland. I totally forgot about Marineland. We could talk about, theme parks that have disappeared, too. So we had Jungle Land up here in Thousand Oaks, and anybody else remembers that, they can mention that again, too. But that was there on, I think, whatever is it, T.O. Boulevard, I guess? It's right there by the big Civic Center. But, yeah, that was cool. I remember going there as a kid, and we didn't even live here then. We lived up in Idlewild back then. All right, yeah, Marineland, that's very cool. I went there a few times, and then we went to San Diego. So we, kind of did the theme park circuit. But I'm going to put you down for Marineland. I think that's great. All right, let's say thank you, Tom. Let's say hello to Jeff, KC6 WTN.
Hey, Bob. Thanks for doing the net tonight. Growing up in Northern California, south of Sacramento, the nearest theme park was Marriott's Great America. I think they now call it like California's Great America or something. It's down in San Jose, so it was a trip that you would take to the Bay Area and see the Winchester Mystery House and stuff like that. Make a trip out of it. More recently, about 15 years ago, I lived in Chino Hills, which was about a 20-minute drive from Disneyland. So I said, why not? I splurged and bought the most expensive day pass that they had, or I should say annual pass that they had. No blackout dates. You could go anytime. Parking was included and all that. I would take my journal, and I would just go because I could go for a couple hours. I didn't have to commit to a full day. And I would find one of their park benches and just sit and write in my journal. Go to the New Orleans Square, listen to the music, have a mint julep, and scribble in my journal. And there were a couple of times I just sat on that train that goes all the way around the whole park, and I would sit on that for a couple of times around. And again, just kind of scribbling in the journal. But it was interesting. Just people watching. Back to net control, KC6 WTN.
Yeah, I remember Marriott's Great America when we lived up in Grass Valley. And that was pretty much it, wasn't there? I think Sacramento might have had the zoo and a few other attraction things like that. But yeah, that was pretty much you want to go to get the big rides and those kind of things. Thank you, Jeff. That's great. Now I'm going to put you down for Marriott's Great America because I remember it, and it's something kind of different. And sounds good. Yeah, that would have been fun. Wow, could you imagine going there just? Well, it's kind of like I'll go into that just real quick. When I was whatever age, I don't remember, but I was going to Knott's Berry Farm like daily. And that's because they didn't charge, number one. And it wasn't so much for me, but my grandmother would take me. So she didn't have to pay, just to get in. You could just walk in. So she'd go take a nice book, and she'd go sit on a park somewhere and just, people watch, read her book. And I'd take off and go on whatever ride I could get on, the log ride. But, of course, my favorite ride at Knott's Berry Farm was the Calico Mine Train. I know it's not a fast one, and I just love mines and mine trains and all that. Oh, that was just that was it. I was going to do that as a lifelong career, is to be an engineer on the Calico gold mine. All right, there we go. There's my memory. I jogged it loose for a brief moment. I'm going to head out to Virginia. Locust Grove. Now, you know what? I heard that locusts and grasshoppers and something else, the crickets. Okay, yeah. Oh gosh, not don't. I didn't say crickets, did I? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't really mean it. So they said that if you ground them up and you eat them, or in a pill form, like in a powder, that you can actually grow hair. I don't know where, but you'd grow hair somewhere. All right, Ron, KF4PQH, welcome.
Good evening, KF4PQH, indeed, coming from Locust Grove, Virginia. And I know there was a delicatessen where I could buy fried grasshoppers and chocolate-covered bumblebees. But in any event, growing up in the New York area, we had lots of theme parks: Freedom Land, Palisades Park in New Jersey, Coney Island, Rockaway Playland, Steeplechase. Lots to remember as a kid. A couple over in Jersey. But I'm going to take a different take on this. So, since I've been a Virginian for a lot of years, one of my favorite areas is what they call the Historic Triangle, and that's comprised of Jamestown, Colonial Williamsburg, and Yorktown. So Jamestown was the site of the first permanent British colony in North America. Yorktown was the location for the final battle of the Revolutionary War, and Colonial Williamsburg, which is one of my favorites, was the political and cultural center of Virginia colonies in the 18th century. And when you go there, all their docents all stay in character, and you start talking about things like the internet and whatever, and you get wild answers from them. They look at you like you're some kind of crazy nut. So I think those are theme parks, too. In any event, everybody, glad to hear you out there. Thanks for doing that, Bob. Get a chance to do something kind for somebody out there, please go ahead and do that. And 7-3 to everybody. Stay safe and stay cool out there. It's actually cooled off around here a little bit. We're only in the 70s and 80s, but a little more humidity than you get out there. This is KF4PQH. Back to net control.
Thank you, my friend. I like the different take on it, because that mixes it. Everybody could just say Disneyland, we'd be done. So it's nice that you put that on there, and that, yeah, but then you brought up all like Coney Island and all the different places on the East Coast. Yeah, that must have really, I've been to the Navy Pier in Chicago, and that's not really a theme park, but it could be, depending on how much you drink. It could be quite a theme park. But, what a fun place. I did like going there. Sounds good. We'll say hello to Dee, and we are thinking of you with the. I know we're dealing with it. It's like it was. I'm gonna stop complaining eventually. Maybe when it gets to be November, December, and it gets hot again. Southern California. What can you say? But I did like Darren's net last night with the. What would you do? This and that. So I thought that was so much fun. He did a great job last night. Okay, Ron, have a great Monday. Monday's our second day of the week, so it's not the first day. That's here. And we'll enjoy hearing from you soon. Let's say hello to Jeff, AB6MB, up in San Francisco Bay.
Hello, Bob, and thank you very much for doing the net. Yeah, just dropped by. I remember when I was a kid, my mom had remarried, and my stepdad I was 13 at the time, and my sister was like 10. And we went down to Southern California to meet, his family. And this one I lived in Seattle. And we went to, I remember, Knott's Berry Farm and Disney World, and had a great time. It was just, we really had a blast at Disney World or Disneyland. And, just really good memories of that. And then years later, about 10 years later, I went to visit my buddy, who was a Marine, and me and him and his wife, we went to Disneyland and, spent the day there, then drove back that night, back to the Yuma. But it was pretty cool, and I still have, like I said, very, very fond memories of that. So with that, Bob, we'll turn it back to you, AB6MB.
Now, I was wondering if you had something up. Well, I guess Seattle's got so many other things going on, too. I mean, you've got the Space Needle, which two guys jumped from, I guess, today, or whatever day it was. That looked scary. Wow, talk about a thrill ride. But I don't think they caught him. I think they got away. They parachuted off into the sunset. And yeah, Disney World is different than Disneyland. I had to go to Orlando for a trade show with my company, and I had like a 7 o'clock flight that night, and I was done in the morning. So what I wanted to do was to go towards Disney World since I grew up at Disneyland pretty much, didn't know anything different. And I thought, as you drive by on the 5 freeway, used to be able, you could see the Matterhorn. I thought I'll take a picture and I could show it to everyone back at home. And nope, as you start going into the park, you're going into the park. And next thing I know, I was paying, $25 to park or whatever it was at that time. And then thought, okay, well, I'll be able to take pictures of, go to the gift shop and get a couple things. No, don't have that either. You got to get on a boat and go over to the actual park. And I did that. So I finally just said, look, I can't get out of here now. I might as well go for it. And the one thing that just blew me away as I was walking down Main Street, everything else looked the same. I mean, not photo to photo, but just it looked the same to me, is when I got to the end and looked over at Matterhorn. I got it. I'll edit that out. At the Matterhorn, and it wasn't there. I was just like, hello? Where is it? There's no Matterhorn there. So that was very interesting. But otherwise, it was a little bit the same, Haunted Mansion stuff. All right, W6CJX for the Papa System, Great Outdoor Net, talking theme parks tonight. What was your favorite theme park? And up and down for Disney. There we go. Now let's say hello to Dale, N6AQQ. He lives in Orange County, so I'm sure that was probably a place to go once in a while. Over to you, Dale. Welcome.
I was born in Glendale, N6AQQ. Good evening, everybody. I was born in Glendale, so lived there the first 11 years of my life. Then we moved to Oregon. So anyway, N6AQQ. I went to Disneyland and SeaWorld and Knott's Berry Farm when I was a kid. I liked them, but now I like water parks. So anyway, I like wild rivers and raging waters. And anyway, N6AQQ.
Going down there to, I guess, on our mini trips to Knott's Berry Farm, we would go by the Japanese, and we actually went there. My grandmother wanted to go, so this is when I was spending time with her in the summertime from the mountains, and we went to Japanese Deer Park in Buena Park, and that was actually nice. You could have your lunch there and feed the deers, and it was in all the different Japanese gardens. It was actually quite beautiful. Beautiful place. All right, well, thank you, Dale. Yeah, it's a whole another world out there, I guess, Let's see, who else do I have here? We've got Bob, and we got Hal coming up. So one more, and then we'll take a few more check-ins. N6HAL, welcome. Chief.
November 6th, Hotel Alpha Lima. Thank you, Bob. Thanks for opening the nest. Good topic tonight. Theme parks, I didn't attend too many as a youngster. Of course, I did Disneyland. Had a real good fun night on grad night. We all went to Disneyland on grad night. And I'm like you, Bob. I think Knott's Berry Farm is probably one of my favorite theme parks. I like the mine train just like you did, and I also like the stagecoach in Western Town. So that would probably have to be my favorite theme park. I haven't attended too many others. But what I do wish they would do, I wish they would turn the Barstow train classification yard into an adult theme park for rail fanners. I'd love to spend a whole day or two just wandering around that rail park and watching the trains get taken apart and made up. It's very, very interesting. I've watched it on video, but I'd like to see it live. That's about it for me tonight, Bob. Thanks very much. November 6th, Hotel Alpha Lima.
All right. Oh, I know what I got. I'm monitoring D-Star, and there's a guy talking on D-Star. I'm like, who is that? That's not part of the net. Anyway, that's just what's going in my earpiece. Sounds like you're a train buff a little bit. I mean, I love trains. Yeah, period. I have quite a few in the garden size, the G scale, which I'll probably be selling soon. I just don't have the time to set it up again, but I did have a nice garden railroad, so I felt good about that and enjoyed it. I could actually run it with a remote control from my kitchen as I was like cooking, Sunday breakfast. What train am I going to take out today? I'll take this one and just run it around the track. Kind of fun. Oh, that sounds good. Yeah, we've always wished we could do something like that. My buddy has the Nevada County Narrow Gauge, which is pretty much an attraction now. It very much is. They've rebuilt all these different engines. They've got a Porter, and they've got the old number 7, or is it 5? That used to be in the movies and stuff, but it originated up at the Nevada County Narrow Gauge Railroad. So look that up on YouTube. He goes there. He's one of, I guess you call him a docent or Maybe he's just in charge of everything. No, he's amazing. Good longtime high school friend of mine, Tim O'Brien. All right, with that, I am out of stations. Let's see if we can get a few more out here. We're talking theme parks for something like cool Sunday evening. What was your favorite theme park when you were young and or now and or that you went to and visited someplace? That'd be kind of fun too. So anyone, anywhere, please come down.
Kilo 6 Delta.
Kilo Oscar 6 Delta Golf X-ray Rick on Papa 6.
KD6GU Papa 1 recheck.
KD6LLB recheck after him.
Kilo Oscar 6 Juliet Golf Echo. Randy Papa 3.
Good. I got Ellen, and I got Rick, DGX. I got Jim, FVN. I got Logan as a recheck, GEU as a recheck, and Randy, Juliet Golf Echo. So let's start at the top. Say hello to our good friend Ellen. Sounded good. I don't know how, if you participated today, let us know if you're on the Simplex Net. I know you enjoyed doing that, and I guess Eva was back, so... Either way, let us know what happened there and any other theme parks that you might have visited. How about in Switzerland and somewhere in Europe? I mean, I don't know what I went to when I was in Germany, Spain, and Switzerland. But, I mean, Switzerland is an amusement park, if you ask me. I think it's or a theme park. It's just beautiful, right? That's what all the theme parks model themselves after, the Alps, the Matterhorn, and et cetera. All right, Ellen, go ahead. Thank you. K6TV.
Good evening, Bob and Nanette. Yeah, Simplex is always awesome. It was great to get up this morning with a cup of coffee, and I had 26 unique call signs coming through. But that being said, I need to talk about something else. Mindy, stop playing with your ball. Third-party traffic. Most of the theme parks that have been mentioned have been in the United States. And I would say that if I had an opportunity to visit the best theme park in the world, hands down, bar none, I would go back to France, and I would go to Puy du Fou. Now, that's spelled Puydufou, and I bet you everybody has never heard of it. If you have, boy, I want to hear from you. Imagine a theme park that combines the best of Cirque du Soleil with the best of Disneyland's rides, with the ability to have period-themed hotels, 6 of them on the grounds, with separate cities within the park itself. You've got ancient Rome with chariot races. You've got the great century of the Musketeers, the 3 Musketeers and all of that. And then you have the Vikings, which is also part of what happened in France. So in other words, it's a historical themed park. It also has World War I and the 100 Years' War. So you can go to this park and you can immerse yourself in living history while being entertained. And here's the richest part. A day ticket is 37 euros. Now, and you know what a Disneyland ticket is like. Oh, my goodness gracious sakes alive. So give me Europe. Give me the best theme park in the world. And all the rest of them are United States entertainment centers, like Las Vegas on steroids. And I grew up around Disneyland, so it's not like I'm dissing it. It's just that things have progressed. I love the fact that France is showing us their segments of their history while entertaining people. So they talk about being at Verdun and the 100 Years' War and their historical castles and the history that's part of all of that, plus the art and the music. It's all themed and it's all completely immersive. So you can stay in a hotel in the Roman era. Imagine that. So with that, I'm going to hand it back to the net, and I'll put that on my bucket list because it was not open and operational when I was in Europe. So I need to go back for one more trip in 2 years because I'm hitting milestone birthdays now, and I think I better hang around. K6 Delta Victor, back to net.
Well, I was hoping you'd hit that. I figured you might. See, it was a special bait I threw out there, and you got it. I don't remember going, like I said, I mean, Switzerland, the Alps are there and everything. You're riding trains through the Alps and, past the Ricola factory. Yes, there is a Ricola factory in Switzerland. There really is one. It's not coming from China. But, yeah. And the only other time I went to a theme park out of the country would have been Taiwan. I went to Taipei twice in, I don't know, I think the same month. It was a lot. But we went to a place and they said it was similar to Universal Studios. And so I guess they maybe made a few films there and of some type. And then it was just one of those type of places where it was like a studio. But they made a theme park out of it. So it was kind of fun. I enjoyed it. We had a good time. And it was something very different, culturally different. Thank you, Ellen. I was hoping you'd say that. Let's say hello to Rick, KO6, Delta Golf X-Ray.
Hey, Bob. Thank you so much, and always a lot of fun, especially listening to those voices of all those people that are regular to this net. But, here's a couple thoughts. And you brought back this memory about Disneyland for me. There's a guy who mentioned that he went to senior night to Disneyland, and that's pretty memorable for him. So they had this one event. They used to have these events, like to promote the park way back in the 70s. And so there was this thing called Alhambra Night, and it was the Alhambra School District was invited. So Alhambra High School, San Gabriel High School, and my alma mater, Mark Keppel High School, were all invited to go to Disneyland on Alhambra Night, and then we're going to get to ride all the rides for without all the e-tickets and all that stuff. So, dude, this is back in the 70s, and it was rowdy. You invited these three high schools together. We were a bunch of hippie kids and stuff, and so everybody thought it was going to be a friable event, and this kid who drove me there was my ride from San Gabriel Valley to Anaheim. Did you know they have a Disneyland jail? He got snagged by some Disneyland undercover dude and thrown into jail because he snuck a pint of whiskey in. And I remember I looked over and I saw this dude just jump off a bench and grab him by the shoulder and drag him away. And he's going like, wait, it's almost done. I'm almost finished. He thought that was going to sweeten the deal for the undercover dude at Disneyland. So my friend goes to Disneyland jail. Now I'm stuck in Disneyland and no ride home, and I'm really scared. I mean, I'm only 14 years old, and then Disneyland, I'm just wandering through Disneyland, and then it closes, and it's like, now what do I do? So I'm standing at the front entrance watching all these friends and people I know leave, but I don't know what to say to them to tell them to take me home. Fortunately, man, I saw his older brother walk by, and I go, Danny, man, Pat's in jail. He's like, what? Yes. She's in Disneyland jail, and I need a ride home, take me home. So he took me home. So, man, that's my park story. But my favorite ever park would be something that Steve would remember, LOV, New Hampstead guy. It's called POP, Pacific Ocean Park. Man, I remember going there really, really young, and I thought I was on the set of Swiss Family Robinson. And then one final thing, you guys are talking about scarfing on bugs and stuff like that. I've been reading some scientists, those mean old scientists, God, they come up with all this stuff. But they say there's not going to be enough protein on Earth. There's not going to be enough cows. The fish are being fished out and poisoned, and humans are not going to be able to survive with the amount of protein that's on Earth, and future humans are going to have to consume insects, and that would create an equilibrium where we could press on. So much fun. KO6 DJX, back to next.
There's a sale on top sirloin steaks at your Vons this week. Only $4.99 a pound. I think we better stock up. I'm gonna get one of those freezers for the garage. Maybe I'll get Carolyn to check in if she hears me talking about buying a freezer for the garage. I'm really not, but I figured it might. That is interesting. What a story. I know you didn't make that up. It's just no way. And yeah, I remember people getting busted there. There is, I don't remember they go to a jail, but I guess they probably do. A holding facility somewhere, because some guy could do whatever, or girl, guy, whatever, and have to subdue them somehow, whatever. But just takes all the fun out of Disney. They whisk you off quickly so you don't disturb the rest of the family of friends that are coming in there. Very good story, Rick. I love it. That's really very cool. All right, let's say hello to Jim, KE6FVN. How are you doing, Jim, down in Cerritos? Welcome.
Well, the last time I was at Disneyland was back in June of '89. On the night we graduated from high school, my senior class, we were supposed to have gone to Disneyland. However, they were overbooked. So we went the night following our high school graduation. Go there in the evening and leave the next morning, and that's the last time I was at Disneyland, back in June of 1989, the evening of June 21st, the morning of June 22nd, 89, Kilo Echo 6 Foxtrot Victor, November.
Oh, that's right. They actually would when people would leave the park, they'd open up the park overnight. That's right. Now I remember, for the graduations. We had that set up for us when I was up in Northern California, Nevada Union High School, and I didn't go. I don't know. Maybe it was too much money or something at the time to take the bus and all that stuff all the way down to Disneyland. But it would definitely be fun. So that sounds like a great time. I'm so glad you shared that. I forgot that they did the overnight thing. You just basically, stay up all night and have some fun at Disneyland. Works for me. W6CJX for the Papa System Great Outdoor Net. You're listening to this. What are we listening to? We're listening to me. So let's get someone else on the line. Let's see. We've got 2 rechecks. I got Randy. Let's take our first timer. Randy, maybe not first time to the net, but first time tonight. JGE. And let's see what he's got for us. Go ahead, Randy.
Good evening, Bob. This is Kilo Oscar 6 Juliet Golf Echo. Thanks for hosting the net. Shout out to Ellen and Evo for hosting the Simplex exercises on Sunday. I missed this morning, but usually I'm there. My favorite theme park is it's not a theme park. It's the Johnson Space Center in Houston. They have tours there. I was there for 5 days as part of a NASA Explorer School Student Symposium. Took a bunch of kids there. Got to run all around Johnson Space Center. That was quite a bit of fun. Got to talk to astronauts. Actually, I had dinner with an astronaut with all the kids. And then they do have a theme park there. It's called Space Center Johnson, or Space Center Houston, and that is an actual space theme park. So that's my favorite theme park, and that was my most enjoyable theme park experience. Okay, back to net control, KO6, JGE.
That must have been a hoot. Man, I can imagine. I bet there's quite a few on this net tonight that would like to have done something like that. I mean, how educational, and still it makes it kind of nice. And to go to dinner with an astronaut, that would be pretty cool. Hey, so what's it like when you Anyway, it would be very fun. Thank you, Randy, for sharing that. And let's see. Let's go back up. Who do we have here? Who's your daddy? Let's see. We've got either Bob or Logan. I think Bob might still be mobile. So, Logan, sorry again, but you're such a good standby. Just KJ6GEU. I think he might still be mobile. Go ahead, Bob.
Thanks a lot, Bob. KJ6GEU here. I guess technically I'm mobile. I'm still in my car, but I just pulled into the driveway. Anyway, just wanted to, the grad night thing cracked me up. We did grad night. I think all the high schools in the LA area and Orange County area did that back in the day. Back in the mid-'70s when I graduated from Santa Monica High, we went to grad night. And I remember that several of my friends smuggled some booze in, and none of them got busted. None of them went to jail. We all got out scot-free. So I didn't bring anything in, but a lot of my friends did. So I thought that story he told was pretty funny. Let's see. I had to have a question. I don't know if anybody's been to Disney World recently. My dad did a gig with Disney back in the late 70s. He's an artist, and he also worked in the movie business. But they commissioned him to do some paintings for the Epcot Center down there. And he did a big painting of a guy on a horse climbing over the Continental Divide, and he also did a big painting of John Paul Jones' ship in the naval battle during the Revolutionary War. I'm just wondering if they're still there. It's been like 50 years or something like that, almost. Just wondering if they're still there. And then back to Alaska, as Logan said, the place is unbelievably beautiful. We went to the Kenai Peninsula, which is like the southernmost part of the main part of Alaska, but still north of the Panhandle. And the mountains there are just amazing. Think of the Napali coast of Kauai with snow on the tops. There's just greenery everywhere. It's just amazing. Just unbelievably beautiful. I was kept thinking, how does all this foliage survive the winters up there, which can get down to 20 below at times? But just everything was just gorgeous. On the Jackie and Shadow thing, there's a lot of bald eagles up there. We saw a ton of them. Went hiking, I took some pictures, and it was amazing. A lot of them had their white heads were all muddy, and I guess it's because they're digging for fish in the marshland up there. Didn't get a nice picture of one with a clean white head, but I got some pictures of some dirty eagles. That, and also when we went hiking, we had a close and personal with a black bear and 2 cubs, but she was pretty mellow, and we backed off and gave her plenty of space. I got some pictures, and we didn't mess with her cubs, and everything was good. Anyway, with that, I will send it back to Net Control. And again, if anybody knows about those 2 pictures or paintings that my dad did back in the 70s, if they're still there, I would love to hear about it. Anyway, KJ6GEU, back to Net Control.
Well, I guess you could maybe go on Google or something, or just go to the Disney World or Epcot website or something, and just, they have pictures of everything that's there. So maybe, just pan around, find different pictures of different areas. I know Carolyn's dad worked a lot on Epcot. He was one of the chief architects for WED Enterprises in Burbank, and also redid the for Fantasyland. We used to actually have draft pictures of drawings, and they're all in brown, which is a real color. I know most prints come in like blueprints, These are brown prints. But it had all the different gingerbread, all the little things that he designed for the now Fantasyland. And they might have redone it since then. But, she grew up in a Disney family, so that was their main attraction for sure. Sounds great, Bob. Yeah, I can't imagine. I know before, when we didn't have the bald eagles as much around here as we do now, they used to say it's like winning the lottery if you ever see a bald eagle. And then you go to Alaska, and it's like they're everywhere. I haven't seen them myself, but that's what I've seen on pictures, and people have said they're kind of like pigeons, they're like all over. And you're like, wait a minute, we never even see a bald eagle. But we do now. We do get to see a lot of them, of course. Just go to YouTube. Thank you, Bob. As always, let's see, we got Logan. I'm trying to look past this dang microphone. It's too big. Logan, KD6LLB, welcome.
Thanks. KD6LLB returning. Thanks for taking my recheck, Bob. I just wanted to jump in and say, having grown up in Texas, in Austin, it was a great place. But we didn't have anything like what you guys had here in California. First of all, I don't know. I've had dozens and dozens of friends, people that I know from here in California from my 35, 6 years, whatever it is. Grad night sounds like it was a lot of fun. That we didn't have that, but I know people. I've heard some interesting stories, and I'll just say a couple of things to Rick. Mainly, it's probably best that you didn't ride back with a guy who had downed a bottle of whatever he had snuck in, all the way from Anaheim to the Valley. I'm still amazed that most of my friends and I survived high school and the years after. But the other thing I wanted to say is Knott's Berry Farms sounds, that everybody tells these stories. That sounds like a place that I would like to visit today. Of course, today it would be like $100 valet parking and whatever. But the idea that you could just go there kind of casually to say, let's go hang out, read a book, ride the train. That was, for me, that was something like Zilker Park and, places like that. They weren't theme parks, but they had a little train, and, we did definitely go to places like that. Anyway, Knott's Berry Farm back in the day sounds like something that I wish I'd gotten to see. KD6 LLB, back to net. Thanks, Bob.
Recheck, November 6, Hotel Alpha Lima.
You got it, Hal. We got you in the book. I did. I lived, like I said, I kind of grew up there. Like one summer, but then we went many times. But one summer, we literally went every day. I don't know how my grandmother did it. She just was like, I guess, would do anything for her only grandson, I guess, right? I mean, what's a grandmother to do? But we had a good time. Definitely enjoyed it. She drove us back and forth each day. Let's take a recheck from Mr. Howell. Go ahead, Chief.
November 6th, Hotel Alpha Lima. Thanks, Bob, for the recheck. I just listened to the last few stories about grad night at Disneyland and brought back memories for me, so I'm going to pick up on that a little bit. Won't be able to top Rick, but we had almost every, like another gentleman I think mentioned, was about every high school in San Diego County, and I know Orange County, LA, on grad night, which was June whatever, but they put all the students in school buses and drove you up to Disneyland on a school bus in the evening, early evening, and we were there at Disneyland all night long, and we didn't get back to the school until daylight, just in time for breakfast. But Rick's whiskey bottle story was kind of interesting, but I think it's past the statute of limitations, so I'll tell this one. We had it wasn't me, of course, but we had a couple of buddies on the bus that took oranges for fruit, just to have a snack. But lo and behold, somebody injected the oranges with vodka, so that made for very interesting fruit. And we never did get caught, but that was just a story I thought I ought to tell. Back to the net, November 6th, Hotel Alpha Lima.
Wow, excellent idea. You could there you go. You could sneak it to the concerts in the park. And I haven't been drinking, officer. I just ate a couple oranges. It'd be like a tequila sunrise or tequila sunset. You can inject the tequila into an orange. Quit giving us these ideas. Well, that's what the sky buckets are for. Don't you remember those? You could do a lot of things in those little sky buckets as you're going across Disneyland. They took them away, but people were smoking things, drinking things, kissing things. Yep, it's one of those kind of fun places to be. W6CJX for the Papa System. Great outdoor net, Sunday evenings, 8 p.m. That's who you're listening to, and we're talking about theme parks in Southern Cal and anywhere. Anyone else out there? Let's do a last call. It's getting a little late for the net, but it's okay. We're here, and we'll take a couple more if we have them. Please come now.
Fox KM6 AVH.
Papa 1 out. KNC6 ESW.
KM6 AVH.
C6 ESW.
Foxtrot Golf Whiskey.
KC6 WGN recheck.
All right, you guys got me cracking up. That is I'm glad it's being recorded. I got to hear that tomorrow. That was classic. First of all, I got what's going on? What's happening? Okay. First of all, I heard FGW, just the voice, but I heard like a GW, so that was Steve. And then I heard RJ about the same time. It kind of collude together there. So I got AVH. That was no problem. Then I got Mike. I heard him in there too. And so I got all three of you guys down, and I was waiting for the next station to come up. And it ended up being, let's see, I think AVH again, FGW again, ESW again. And then all of a sudden we got FGW, AVH. And so anyway, I was just laughing to myself because it's like, guys, I got it the first time. But that's okay. I understand. I just thought I'd share that with you. It was fun. And I did pick up WTN And someone named Chuck. Are you still out there, Chuck? Come on back with your call sign.
AK6QN, Chuck.
If I had to guess, that's what I would have said. All right, I got you, Chuck. I don't know too many other Chucks, but I just want to make sure. All right, let's say hello to Steve, WA6FGW type.
As usual, the topics you pick and whatnot, and some of the things that people mention bring back memories that just don't seem to quit. I went to high school back on the Midwest, but we did have a chance to do this, how would you call it, night at Disneyland type of thing for one of the employers that I was with. Everybody was able to, get there at 5 and, stay open until midnight or something along that line. It was many, many years ago. So remember doing that. That was cool. And then, of course, my kids being out here, raised and whatnot, they did the Disneyland routine. So it definitely is out there. Let's see now. Growing up in Chicago, from my recollection, there was only one park, if you will, like a Disneyland, more of all the different rides that you would have. But it wasn't anything particular, how would you say it, exciting. I mean, people went to it, but it certainly didn't hold the allure of like Disneyland and that sort of thing. But at least they had it. Okay, that being said, in Chicago, people are very industrious. I had a neighbor on the south side that literally built a 1A scale steam locomotive, and he had it on a couple miles of track out in northern Indiana. And being a neighbor, we were always helping him. In the wintertime, he'd bring it in for refurbishing, and then in the summertime, he would get it refurbed and take it back out to the farmer's pasture, which was always kind of a fun thing to do anyway. This is long before I was driving. But once I got into the high school, I was apparently, he felt comfortable enough that I could go ahead and run this. So here we are going around a couple miles on a 1A scale locomotive to the T. But that made up for all those places that we didn't have back in the Chicago area. Let's see. I guess that's it. What I may do is check with you about your friend and see if he knows any whereabouts of the Johnson train line, because that's who I'd be. I tried to look it up once before and had very little success. So maybe another fresh set of eyes on the local industry. Anyway, thanks for doing the net, Bob. It's always a pleasure to listen to it. WA6FGW.
Well, that kind of falls into Darren's net on Saturday night. Was like, would you want to go to any theme park in the world, or would you rather have your own train, neighbor's own train that you can help work on? Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, I would say you made up. Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty neat. I know. And then that's kind of a neat schedule because, Chicago and Indiana, you got to go in the wintertime, but that would be the time to oil everything, take things apart, and check the bearings. And, how cool is that? I love that. Thank you, Steve. You always have something very much to contribute to the net. And let's say hello to RJ, KM6AVH. What's going on, RJ? How are you doing? And welcome.
Yeah, KM6AVH. Well, I'm going to dial it back a little bit further in Chicago when there was a place called Riverview, and it opened on July 2nd, 1904, and closed October 3rd, 1967. And I did go there as a kid, and my father took me there because my grandmother lived not too far from there. So we could take a bus, park at my grandmother's house, and take a 10-minute bus ride and go to Riverview. And it was pretty amazing. At one time, it was bigger than Disneyland. It was 67 acres, I think, if I recall right, reading here, and 74 acres. It had a ride called the Chutes, which was basically a boat that came down a really long run and splashed into a pool. And all I can remember embedded, ingrained into my mind, keep your hands inside the boat. Don't grab the side of the boat. Hold on to the handle. That was ingrained in my mind as the announcement came. But unfortunately, due to gang activity and other things, the park was forced to close. It got to the point that it was very unsafe to go to, fights and shootings and whatnot. That was back in the 60s, and so finally they closed it. And there were a couple of times where I just went by myself to Disneyland and went to Knott's Berry Farm just by myself, and was able to maneuver around in the park, not having to have anybody tag along with me. And then the last boring story about Disneyland is many 10 p.m. calls at Disneyland to work overnight, to have to be out of the park. The trucks and the crews had to be out of the park at 8 a.m. And I got to tell you, overnight, that park is just humming with people. Restocking, cleaning, repainting, and there is just a whole nother nightlife and crew at, I would imagine, any other theme park. But I got to see how busy it got at 1 o'clock in the morning when the park was closed. All right, that's it. KM6AVH, back to net control.
I would love to see that. I remember somebody was telling me about how, he worked there where, I don't remember what he was in the engineering department or something, but he said, at nighttime you go into, depending on what ride you're working on and doing maintenance, preventative maintenance stuff, like if you went into the Pirates of the Caribbean, they had all the lights on. And actually there's some YouTube videos that you'll see that, I think it's like the ride broke down or something, and they just everyone's just sort of sitting there.
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.
Yeah. So that's my contribution. The bobsleds. Gotta love the bobsleds too. That sounds great, RJ. Wow, some great stories tonight. This is I'm glad we're archiving this darn thing. This is a wonderful thing. And boy, well, we're not last but not least, but we're gonna get to Mike. Thank you, RJ. KC6ESW. And speaking of theme parks, take it away, Mike.
KC6CJX, KC6ESW, good evening. Well, I've been to theme parks and I've worked at a couple. So there's that. I'll take you back. I grew up in San Francisco, 60s and 70s, and of course there was Playland at the beach right there on Commodore Slope Boulevard, across the street from the beach, and down the road from the Sutro Baths and the Cliff House and all that there. But again, that was a huge theme park there along the waterfront there, and where they had all kinds of different rides, and they had wooden slides inside. They had slide houses, which is just a big house full of slides. You go on all these slides, and of course there was Laughing Sal, this big overweight robotic lady who just laughed, and she was in a window facing out, and the window was old, and of course, being in San Francisco, often it was fogged up, and it was just a silhouette of this laughing lady, and it terrified me. So we did that, and but that was there. And unfortunately, the 60s and 70s were not kind to Playland, and the hippies ran to the ground, and then of course it was closed down, abandoned for years, and eventually became condos and houses and whatnot. So there's that. Moving forward, again, also the Santa Cruz Beach and Boardwalk, that was always fun. But I worked at 1 year at Six Flags Magic Mountain up here in Santa Clarita. Worked in retail, and I loved it. It was a great gig. I worked at grad nights events there as well, and I got to tell you that those kids, they don't last very long. By about 1 o'clock, they're finding places to go to sleep. So literally, the ship would start at sunset, and I would be out of there at sunrise. And again, it was pretty crazy. But flashing forward, I worked at Universal Studios for about 11 years and worked with the costume characters and entertainment elements in the theme park. And really enjoyed that and enjoyed the culture of theme parks, the behind the scenes, the people and characters and a lot of entertainment folks and starving actors and what have you. But really quite a unique experience to watch things go away, watch the Universal Amphitheater get torn down and watch them build Harry Potter. They got built, and again, a lot of changes over the years at Universal Studios. But did that. Disneyland as well, never worked there, but been there many times, and it's always changing, ever-changing. And yeah, if you want to lose an attraction at Disneyland, just do something stupid, and that's what happened with the buckets. Some guy, I think, jumped out of it, or someone then tried to swim, so he fell out and didn't work. But anyway, I digress on that. It's always a blast working in a theme park. Both myself, I was there 11 years. Chris worked there a couple of years as well for Halloween Horror Nights, and worked there too for that. So I saw both sides, and yeah, a lot of fun for sure. Been to SeaWorld. That's fun. And I'm surprised to hear not too long ago that Knott's Berry Farm was bought by Six Flags, which was kind of disconcerting. But I guess it's progress. And there's a guy by the name of Dave Bourne. Dave Bourne is a musician, and he was also back in the day at Knott's Berry Farm. He was in one of their marching bands. He played the trombone, and he wrote a book about Knott's Berry Farm and the whole story behind the scenes and the evolution of the theme park and him working there. Dave was also the piano player on the show called Deadwood, and was also a piano player at the Magic Castle. So again, working in theme parks, working in movies, working the Magic Castle, it all kind of comes together. But I rambled on long enough, and yeah, theme parks are fun. But when you work there, it's not something you tend to kind of burn out on. Okay, back to you, Bob. KC6ESW.
Well, I got excited when I saw that you were checking in, and that's the first thing I thought of was your experience there at Universal, and thought that was pretty neat. I used to like going Universal as a kid. I did meet, back in those days, I don't know if I do too much these days, but you'd run into stars, just movie stars. Of course, my mom was one of those that had to get autographs and all that stuff. And for some reason, I took to the behind-the-scenes interest as opposed to being starstruck and all that stuff. I figure, they're doing their job, so I want to do the behind-the-scenes job. And that's what was my fascination for many years. But I got it all out of my system, I think, now. I can make peace with it. That sounds great. I didn't know Chris worked there too for a little bit. What a fun job. What a fun gig. Definitely. I think that would be wonderful. All right. Let's move along. Thank you, Mike. And let's, I guess I'll take Jeff. I think he's a recheck. That's okay. And then we got Chuck, KC6 WTN. Go ahead, Jeff.
Thanks, Bob, for the recheck. Somebody had mentioned Marineland, and that jarred my memory because up in Northern California, I remember seeing commercials for Marine World, Africa, USA. And that was a theme park up in Vallejo, I believe, Northern Bay Area. And I think I was there maybe once. So that would be the Northern California equivalent of Marineland. Probably not as good. Also, as a suggestion, this kind of spawns a thought that maybe in the future you could do a topic on tourist traps, outdoor tourist traps. Because I remember going to like Ponderosa Ranch up in northern Lake Tahoe, which was based on the Bonanza movie, Santa's Village, Mystery Spot, Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk, so many places that we all had fun at, but aren't considered theme parks. Back to Net Control, KC6WTN. Thanks again, Bob, for hosting the net.
Recheck, KC6ESW.
Got you, Mike. And Jeff, you get the bell. I was waiting for someone to mention the mystery spot. I love that place. They had that rustic, the mystery shack, I think it was, at Knott's Berry Farm, where water ran uphill and, you'd stand and you'd be leaning out and think. It was just so much fun, right? So they had the mystery spot. I just saw that not too long ago on TV. They were doing one of those things up the coast. And the Paul Bunyan thing, and, just going up the coastline, there's so many fun places there, too. AK6QN. Well, it might have been a drive-by check-in. Yeah, I was going to mention to Jeff also, WTN, that I remember going to Marine World down in Vallejo. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot all about that till he mentioned it. So, yeah, it's kind of fun, right? To be able to kind of reminisce a little bit and think about those kind of things, which I did as a kid or whatever, road trips. But I think the idea Jeff has, I like it. Yeah, let's do some road trips and roadside attractions, and even, visit some of the memories down Route 66 and all. It's all outdoors. I mean, you can't just do backpacks and hiking boots all the time. We're here to have some fun, and if it's outdoors, it's fair game. All right, well, I'm going to tell everybody I appreciate them checking in. I really do. I had a great time tonight. The theme park thing, I think, looked pretty neat. I found a great AI picture, so it's not copywritten by anybody, except from AI. And so if you see that up on the Papa website under YouTube and drop that down, you'll see the tomorrow sometime, once I get it all finished. Spit polished and trimmed a little bit here and there. It should be very nice and ready to check it out. I want to thank everyone on the Papa system, including Cecil, for his legendary leadership. And, of course, Chris and Dwayne. Well, Dwayne, yeah, they all do stuff. Mike Ollie. What do we call him? Mike Ollie. Yeah, he knows who he is. And Darren and everybody that does work so hard. And Ira. I'm catching almost everybody. They're popping up left and right in my head. And, of course, all the net controllers. Great job, guys. We have a good team. I appreciate my announcement team. I know it might get kind of weird and annoying sometimes, but we do get the announcements through. And anyway, I love my three guys. We have our three guys, the three amigo announcement amigos. I don't know what we call ourselves, but it's fun. We keep it all going for you guys, so you know what the latest thing is going on the Papa system. And with that, I'm going to say 7-3 and close the net, 21:33. And we'll compress this down to about an hour and a quarter maybe. We'll see how that works out, and we'll have it up tomorrow afternoon if you'd like to listen. So I'm going to say 7-3 and close the net and return the system back to normal amateur use. This is W6CJX securing his station.